Well, the court jester, Jim Cramer, whose job it is to have an opinion about literally everything and zero accountability, has some thoughts on Tesla.
I got to tell you, the Super 6 is so strong. It's amazing. Catch that? Super 6.
Super 6.
Because Tesla's no longer.
Oh, you're Xing out Tesla.
I'm not X. Well, I like that. I am Xing out Tesla. Oh, you are so clever. You live ambitiously like I've never seen. The most ambitious person ever. And your kids are ambitious, so everybody's ambitious. Fantastic. I think that there's a capitulation going on. My friend Ben writes this, who's at Melius. He now says all you have to do is say that you're somehow connected with NVIDIA, and he's got two others. He says that right now, of course, everyone, Microsoft is, but Google is next to say that they are next to godliness, which is NVIDIA, and then Amazon. David, you were correct in pointing out that NVIDIA's run rate so far, they are ambitious.
Wait, who's NVIDIA's?
Melius, which is really good, is saying that when you're really, let's say your stock's languishing, you just say that you're close to NVIDIA.
Oh, yeah.
ServiceNow reports this week they're close to NVIDIA. See that?
I do see that.
If you're close to NVIDIA, then boom.
Then boom. Look at that 21% move in the stock.
But I'm saying that's the essence of this market right now.
Right.
It's AI, and this is the epicenter. This is the sun.
It is. And as we've said many times, despite what we're...
I can't help but jump in here. What Jim is hinting at here, and there's some truth in it, there's a lot of excitement around AI and companies talking about AI. If, of course, they're the right companies. If their name is Tesla, you just ignore that because they're just a car company and that stuff they have driving vehicles around. FSD V12 now starting to roll out. 300,000 lines of code deleted. Incredible capabilities. More natural feeling. Complete rewrite and incredible capabilities out of almost nowhere. Same company bringing online a shitload of compute in the next 12 months. You know, the world's leading AI company. The company that's developed a Dojo chip. Has their own FSD computer. A training flywheel, an unassailable lead on autonomy. You ignore that because they're Tesla and Tesla's just a car company. They have nothing to do with AI, Owen. What humanoid robot?
Was outperformance likes of which we have rarely, if ever, seen on the earnings front from NVIDIA last year. The stock did not respond for a number of months.
Was it 400? And
then came into this year with a far lower multiple than it had previously as a result of course, far higher earnings.
Correct.
It's made up for that, though, Jim. And I don't know, if you think perhaps it's run a little too fast, too far.
Well, look, I think that the thing that's happened, Carlos, is that people are now saying NVIDIA is not hardware, NVIDIA is software, which then puts it in the sainted enterprise software category, where if you can do anything if you're enterprise software. Even if you're hacked, you can do it.
I did know Jim Breyer in Davos last week said that, and I thought that was interesting.
Jim Breyer was really
Jim Breyer had the great call, if you guys remember, when we were in California last May.
Yes, he said, I sat down with him.
Before the huge blowout, he had that great call on NVIDIA.
Well, he was asking me about my dog.
And he's talking now about software.
My dog... The stock was at 50 when I named my dog NVIDIA.
We're aware.
And Jim Breyer was aware of that.
We're aware that you've had a great call on NVIDIA.
Now, NVIDIA certainly has had quite a run, and I'm personally not surprised. The company's in good hands and have a very bright future. Fun fact, I previously owned NVIDIA stock, split adjusted. I bought at the beginning of 2017 at about $25 per share. NVIDIA was one of a handful of stonks, which made up a very tiny percentage of my portfolio, the vast majority of which was Tesla. But I figured at the time, I might sprinkle a little bit of capital on a number of different companies in industries I have some understanding that I'm very bullish on, while maintaining at least 3/4 of my portfolio in Tesla stock. And then on the odd chance the market fails to recognize what's going on with Tesla and the intrinsic value, I may have an opportunity to sell some of those stonks for a profit and then concentrate more heavily in Tesla. Well, it turns out in early to mid 2019, when Tesla shit the bed, split adjusted, was in the low teens. Again, that was just a few years ago. That was a perfect time for me to dump all the other stocks that I had, including NVIDIA. And I made a tighter return on a bunch of them. Covered this at the time. I sold these stocks to buy more Tesla is the title of the video. You can find it here on YouTube. The holdings also included some ARK funds, some Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Netflix, and a few others for good measure. Made a positive return on almost all of those. But when Tesla stock collapsed, and I mean collapsed, split adjusted, $16 a share, $15, $13, $12 per share split adjusted in mid-2019, that was the opportunity of my lifetime. And I took full advantage. Not only did I sell those stonks, go all in on Tesla, but in addition, my entire emergency fund while I was on sabbatical overseas, turns out Tesla stock in the low teens was the emergency I'd been waiting for. Dumped that all as well. Aged well. And the reason I bring this up is Tesla stock around 200 per share now, market cap around $650 billion, on the cusp of autonomy, scaling the humanoid robot, unassailable lead, world transition to EVs, so-called competitors slowing down, very few even making money on EVs other than Tesla, huge technological lead, everyone adopting supercharging network, you get the point. Kind of feels like round 2 of Tesla's crash in early to mid 2019. I'm just saying. And now some thoughts from Mr. Green Tidal Wave himself.
Tesla. It remains one of the most talked about companies on Wall Street. And here now to discuss what lies ahead for the EV giant is Dan Ives. He's Managing Director and Senior Equity Research Analyst at Wedbush. Dan, pleasure to see you.
Great to be here.
Okay, so Tesla, some bumps in the road perhaps with the stock, but what do you think this kind of year is going to be for the EV giant?
And look, the haters are going to continue to hate. But ultimately, it's really the next phase of the Tesla growth story. I mean, the price war, that Game of Thrones in China, I believe 95% of that's done. Margins start to stabilize. And if you look, this was a record China quarter. So the irony is that coming into this year, the bears thought this was the year the Tesla story was going to ultimately break. Instead, actually got stronger. And I believe 2024 is going to be a very strong year for Tesla as more and more they're doubling down on EVs.
Yeah, and I want to unpack a little bit on the margin side and the China strategy a little bit more. So when it comes to margins, when exactly do you see that?
It never ceases to amaze. The relentless short-term focus on Tesla's gross automotive margins. Because after all, they are just a car company. And also the short term matters a lot. And just to be clear, the narrative 2019 was Tesla's going bankrupt. Tesla can't make money. Tesla will never make money. The competition is coming. When it turned out that none of those things were true, the stock surged, still up about 15 times since that point again, just a few years ago. The narrative at the moment, EV demand is slowing down. Tesla's margins will collapse. You can't keep cutting prices. Oh, and the competition is still coming. Plus, Tesla's just a car company.
Leveling off and stabilizing.
Look, I think it's an important conference call from Musk because really trying to put some line in the sand from a margin perspective. I think 2024 margins plateau and then ultimately start to uptick. That's the key of the story. Key to what I view as a re-rating on the stock and ultimately EPS moving higher. Tesla's had I view it as almost a poker move for the ages by Musk. Cutting prices, volumes. That was the name of the game for 2023. And that's why the bears are still looking at their stitches and getting hurt from 2023, which is a tough year. 2024, it's on the offensive. Cybertruck, I think battery technology is going to have massive improvement. And really, the gold at the end of the rainbow, what everyone's waiting for is FSD and AI. And I really view Tesla arguably as one of the best AI plays, especially on the FSD front.
Hearing this from someone on Wall Street, music to my ears. I do think it's going to take time for the narrative to shift, but shift it will. Again, we're now hearing that FSD V12, the version that was trained purely on video, no heuristics, no rules about what to do here and there, no teaching it how to read road signs, to read language, it's just trained on examples of human drivers, pure video, is now starting to roll out. And I personally believe this is the update that clears the path for the solving of better than human self-driving vehicles. To many people, this seems years or decades away, which would also have been true about AIs generating incredible art and images just a few years ago, or AIs having incredible language-based capabilities just a few years ago. Then suddenly out of nowhere, with the right method of training, sufficient compute, and enough data, out of absolutely nowhere, image generation and language had their hockey stick moments in terms of capabilities. If the same thing occurs with autonomy, I think it might catch a few people by surprise. And Tesla's certainly had a few false starts and gone down a few blind alleys. That is to be expected when you're the leader, you're pioneering this technology. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what will and won't work. But it really was a watershed moment to see the first demo of FSD V12 with no heuristics, deletion of 300,000 lines of code, trained end-to-end on video. And now that software is starting to roll out. Again, don't say, I didn't warn you. The question I really have now is, how long will it take investors, big institutional investors, and analysts on Wall Street to follow suit and start thinking along the same lines as Dan here, who's emphasizing the gold at the end of the rainbow, autonomy and AI?
So one more question about margins. When you're looking at average selling prices in the 60,000 range, what about the lower price range vehicles, whatever that comes out? How is Tesla going to be able to fare on the margins with those?
By Thanksgiving, we believe they announced a sub $30,000 vehicle that's produced out of Mexico as well as in Austin. And that's important to get to the masses. But also, they will be profitable on a car like that over the next 12, 18 months once that ramps, because they have something that gives them the power. The margins, the software, the story they have gives them the opportunity to really crush the competition. I think that at both sides they're doing it. Cybertruck and then a sub $30,000 vehicle. That's sort of the 1-2 punch where Musk continues to play chess while others play checkers.
A lot of words there, maybe not a whole lot of substance to Dan's comments. However, just to be clear, one thing that Dan didn't mention in terms of how Tesla would profitably produce a next-gen vehicle around that $25,000 mark, it's the modular manufacturing system that they unveiled, getting close to, 6, 9, maybe even closer to 12 months now. Time flies when you're making daily videos. It's the manufacturing system for the next generation Tesla vehicle that's going to drive a huge amount of cost out of producing that. It's a total revolution in how a vehicle is assembled. And it's also a scary proposition for Tesla's so-called competition, who've yet to implement most of Tesla's current manufacturing techniques to massively drive cost out of their vehicles. Tesla's already a generation ahead. As for the announcement around timing of the next-gen vehicle, I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, but my best guess is the first deliveries of Tesla's next-gen vehicle are likely to be within 24 months, maybe 18, hard to know for sure. And my strong suspicion is that Tesla will want the time between announcing the next-generation vehicle, as in, here's some pretty pictures, and specs and pricing, and first deliveries commencing will be the shortest it's ever been for a Tesla product. In other words, it's probably going to come out of basically nowhere.
So you talked a little bit about China. What are you seeing play out in terms of Tesla's China strategy right now?
Look, I think it's a fictional Netflix story about the China demise because they just had a record quarter. Now, a BYD, massive success that we've seen from them, but it's a two-horse race. You look, this is a green tidal wave. It's the biggest transformation to the auto industry since 1950s. Clearly, modest demands ticked off, and we've seen that across the industry. But right now, people want a Tesla, not necessarily an EV. And for Tesla, that's a good position for Musk to be in, especially as I believe they just solidify their position.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to ask you. It seems like in general, demand softening for EVs. Do you think Tesla is immune to that? Do they stand apart from what we're seeing in the...
Bro, what the fuck is with this demand softening narrative? There's just too many expensive pieces of shit being produced and not enough compelling well-priced vehicles. If Apple suddenly started charging $50,000 for an entry-level iPhone, no doubt the media would be explaining that there's demand concerns, a demand slowdown for smartphones. No, consumers still want compelling, well-priced, great value smartphones. They just ain't going to fork out $50,000 for one. It's strange people are conflating these two factors. The demand's there. We're at the tipping point. This would be like starting a YouTube channel, posting content, getting 3 views per video, and then deciding that there's no demand for content online. No, your videos just suck. Make better videos, people will watch them.
The industry in general?
I think it's the gold standard, and they continue to be the top of that mountain in terms of what Musk has built, the Tesla brand. I mean, if you look Apple and others, you can really name on one hand the amount that have built that type of brand, but Musk is years ahead of competition. From an efficiency, from a scale, I think India comes on board this year. And I think this is something we're going to look next few years. And this is more of an inflection point year in terms of the rest of the story. Supercharger, FSD, battery technology.
Right. And I think when it comes to Tesla, is it a car company? Is it a tech company? How does that play into the valuation? And also the growth drivers as we look out. So what are your thoughts on that?
Look, I think many that have viewed Tesla from the beginning, we've been fighting with the bears for a decade. Remember, a lot of the smartest people I know are Tesla bears. But in Tesla, the bulls are really the ones that make money. And I think...
Oh my God, what a moment of savagery. He's right though. Doesn't really matter how smart you are or purport to be. If you're bearish on Tesla and you've been acting on that bearishness, on average, you've lost money over the last decade. A lot of it.
If you look at how it's all played out, they view it as an auto company. We view it as a disruptive technology company. That's like saying Tom Brady's just a football player and LeBron's just a basketball player and Tiger's just a golfer. The point is that it's special what they've built. And that's why the multiple is afforded that from a Wall Street perspective.
So what do you think is the biggest risk to the company right now?
Look, I would say, as much as people say Musk is I'd say Musk is the biggest asset. And despite all the negative headlines that we've seen, investors understand with Musk, this is not an individual that's going to be reading books on a Saturday night. So the biggest risk continues to be China, because China is the hearts and lungs of the Tesla growth story, just like Apple. So any sort of ratcheting up a geopolitical U.S.-China cold tech war, that's probably what I view as the biggest risk, especially with that.
Interesting comments from Dan, especially with the context of knowing that Tesla's Model Y was the best-selling vehicle in China last year. Now, the risk is non-zero that there could be some geopolitical tensions between US, China, etc. that could negatively affect Tesla, but I wouldn't personally be betting on it. Based on all of the evidence so far, the rolling out of the red carpet for Tesla in China, first foreign automotive manufacturer allowed to build a wholly owned plant in China ahead of its construction, the abolition of tariffs and import duties on Tesla's S and X into China, below market rate funding from Chinese lenders to construct the Shanghai facility at the behest of the CCP, I personally think Tesla's actually getting special positive treatment in China, and I think a lot would have to change, and I mean a lot, for China to turn on Tesla. It's very smart to have Tesla based in China. It's creating a forcing function for local, domestic Chinese EV makers to keep up or go out of business. This is good for the Chinese economy, for the Chinese EV industry, and for the CCP's goals of getting off fossil fuels.
A price war that's definitely started to stabilize.
And in 2020, 2021, part of that, Tesla, a huge winner. We haven't seen the kind of performance lately from the stock. So do you view Tesla, the company, a little bit differently than Tesla, the stock? Or how should investors be thinking about that?
Yeah, I think at the end of this year, it's $1 trillion market cap. And that's why I think if you go back to a year ago, the haters were thinking Tesla goes under $100. And
not just the haters, but the panicky puddles of emotion who thought they were investors who weren't cut out for holding a volatile stock. Just still can't get over the people who thought the world was ending and panic sold Tesla stock near $100 per share, based purely on fear and nothing else.
Instead, it's a stock that basically doubled. And as it all plays out, betting against Musk and Tesla, it's been like betting against Tom Brady in Super Bowls.
Great. Well, Dan, thank you so much for giving us your take today.
Thanks.
Yeah, let's just be honest here. Given the guy's track record now, there are only 3 reasons why anyone would bet against Elon Musk, by proxy any of his companies. 1, brain damage. 2, emotional damage. 3, both. This is as obnoxious as it is true. Even if you think you're right, even if you really strongly believe in your thesis, this is a bet that only somebody severely broken in some way or another could possibly make. Actually, I forgot the 4th reason. Could just have a humiliation fetish. In that case, whatever floats your boat, I ain't judging. Just make sure you can recover from your catastrophic financial wounds. Want more content? Early access? Bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. It's an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar, You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 shit, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links at the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.